I'm supposed to be working on keeping it short and sweet, so here it is. Here's the skinny in less than 30 seconds. For those of you with a short attention span, people that can't read, people that watch pornography, people that live a lowly lifestyle, that can't commit to anything long form or over 15 seconds because you have TikTok brain, here it goes. If you have a soil-borne disease that's either bacterial or fungal, you're probably not going to be able to do anything about it in organic gardening, so just give up on those crops and grow something else that's not going to be affected by it. Have a good day, start living a better life, and enjoy this long-form video if you're not one of those losers. Peace. Today's episode here, Art and Harvest Homestead, we're going to talk about why we're killing our tomatoes, and it's rough, I'm not going to lie to you. We put a lot of stock into tomatoes this year, as well as last year. We grew 300 foot of tomatoes this year. Last year we did 500 foot. We scaled back this year because we experienced last year what a lot of organic growers here in the state of Louisiana experienced, which is called bacterial wilt. We hung up our hat on tomatoes last year. We decided we're not doing this again. It's 100% the most labor intensive and the most time consuming, therefore, plant that we had in the vegetable garden. And last year, by this time, we had pulled out probably a ton of just amazing watermelon, literally a ton of watermelon this time last year. And we have none right now. And that's because we prioritized getting the rest of our plot planted with all of our Solanaceae crops because we wanted to get those going early, hoping we would have produce to the market by May. Didn't happen. We had a crazy year. We had a ton of rain, which shouldn't help anything. We had like 3 feet of rain over the course of 2 months, and just really cold nights all the way up until a few months ago. So nothing really grew. I've explained this to you guys in the past, that this half of the plot over here was planted 2 months after that half over there. And you can see just by first impressions, just by looking at it, how much more lush and how much bigger this is. But today we're talking about why we're killing our tomatoes, and I'll show you why. Look at this. It's a infection that starts from the lower leaves and moves all the way up to the upper leaves until it's eventually going to kill the entire plant. It's strong enough and big enough and vigorous enough to where they'll stay alive, but they're not going to produce very good fruit. I mean, we've been getting some really good specimens out of here, and we've enjoyed them. We've had enough for our house, but we've also had tropical storm after tropical storm coming in. I'm going to get a close-up on this bee on our Mexican sunflower while I tell you. Well, never mind, no I'm not. Anyways, Mexican sunflower behind the tomatoes right here. These tropical storms push in an insane amount of rain, and then our nearly ripened tomatoes every single time split. They just get bigger and bigger and bigger and split. And this behind me is another 100-foot row of Brad's Atomic Grape tomatoes. Behind us is the mortgage lifter, and it is the VFN, which is supposed to be resistant to more diseases like fungal rot and bacterial wilt. But we haven't experienced that with those mortgage lifters. And with these Brad's Atomic Grape, the year before last I planted a bunch of these for my clients, and they're the best cherry tomato I've had in my entire life. Just delicious, amazing, ripening at various stages of purple and orange and red and yellow. Just as pretty to look at as they were to eat, and they never really got more than that size. Our Brad's Atomic Grape, some of them were getting to the size of like GMO Romas, and then they would just split and they would never really ripen. And that's just because we've had too much water when we haven't needed it. So now that you understand the problem and you understand what we're going through, the reason we're going to kill all of our tomatoes is because it's taking up all this valuable real estate right here. Okay, that's just 200 foot. I've got my other 100 foot on that side, and check out what we've got growing on over here. Jack that from Pete Canaris. Look at this. This is Nancy watermelon. This stuff was just planted a couple of weeks ago, and it's taken off. It's booming already. And there, we've got one of our first babies, but there's a ton of these guys already out here. And if you don't know anything about the Nancy watermelon, here's some unsolicited advice. It's the best tasting watermelon you've had in your whole life, and it is super well adapted for this climate if you're a southern gardener like we are. And the only reason it's not grown commercially is because it's a thinner skin, so it doesn't travel well, so you can't stack it on a pallet and take it to Walmart or Kroger and sell it for $1 after you spray it with a bunch of chemicals. It's the variety that farmers grew for themselves while they were growing other types of watermelon to sell to the plebs. So we're taking that to market, and that's why we're killing all of our tomatoes. They've been unsuccessful yet again this year. This row of Brad's Atomic Grape has not experienced it as bad. Like, look at this relatively healthy plant. And now look at this. You got the same thing. We're rotting from the bottom up. We're wilting. We're taco leaf, and it's just rising. So we may select some genetics. We may let a couple live, but we're probably going to come in and trim everything at the base. We're not going to rip it up by the roots because it can't cross the bacterial that's in the soil or the fungal root rot that's in the soil. We can't really tell what it is at this point in time. It's one of the two. Thinking it might be the fungal. It's in the soil and it's not going to move anywhere. And the reason I think it's this fungal root rot instead of bacterial wilt is because we've got 400 rows of eggplant over here, and we've got peppers, and they're all kicking ass and doing really good. And so you would expect that disease to affect other members of the same family of plants. So we are killing all of our tomatoes because we're making room for bigger and better. We're making room for watermelons that we were originally going to put in our pumpkin patch back here. That was what was going to go when we untarp that side, and it's mulched and it's ready to rock. But we're going to use the space that we have because the soil's really good. We fertilized it a couple of times, and we've got our plants ready to rock and roll right here. We've got more Nancy watermelon. We've got a variety called strawberry watermelon. And guys, it pains me to say, and I'll show you again, we've got like 5 healthy tomatoes right here. Relatively healthy, but once again, you see the wilt working its way up. And all of this other stuff that's planted in the back of this row has been here for months and months and months and months and months. And none of it's doing anything. So the main thing I want you to take home from this, if you're a gardener, if you're an aspiring farmer, I want you to trust your intuition. Because last year, me and my wife started on this farm in the middle of the summertime. It was hot, it was miserable. I prioritized moving my entire orchard in the middle of summer, and we were killing ourselves just to get some stuff in the ground, and we ended up getting a few hundred feet of crops in. But the thing that did the best for us was the watermelons. They absolutely kicked butt for us, and we harvested tons of watermelon out here. And like I said, it was the most delicious watermelon you've ever had. And we told ourselves last year, this time, we're like, we're watermelon farmers now. That's what we do. That's what this land wants to grow. And tomatoes gave us so much trouble that we quit on them and we cursed them. But we tried again. And the reason we tried again is because we have a mentor. Her name's Donna. She's a beautiful woman. She's brilliant. And I heard her voice in my head at the beginning of spring, and she said, "Anthony, don't give up on tomatoes for $5 a pound, Anthony." And I was like, she's Jamaican, by the way. Rate my Jamaican accent 1 to 10 for that Miss Donna impression. So I did it despite not wanting to do it. And here we are, we're eating crow. We could have had tons of watermelon already. We could have reserved that space for more experiments. We could have done anything, but instead we spun our wheels. We didn't trust ourselves, and now we're in the stage of regretting that. But we are prepared. We have this succession of watermelon that's going to go in the ground in between the base of all of these tomatoes on all 300 foot of row that I just showed you. And we're going to get some good compost on top of those guys that we made ourselves as well. And we're going to hope for a late freeze, because if we get another early one, then we're going to be eating crow twice this year. But if we get that typical late freeze of the state of Louisiana, which sometimes we don't get until December, like in 2022, I think it was December 12th. The year after that, I think it was early November, and then last year we got one in October. So these are big watermelons. These are very big watermelons. They need 110 days. So 110 days from now is math, and it's right there. And that's going to be our first harvest date. That's what we're expecting, at least. So if you see us at the markets and you've been wondering why we haven't been showing up with tomatoes, it's because of this. It's endemic in the state of Louisiana right now for organic growers. I don't know if you could do anything, even if you wanted to, organic. I think some people are fumigating for this bacterial wilt or for this fungal root disease. I'll put the specifics of those names right here. I don't know if people could do anything about that, but all of my organic growers that I know aren't doing anything about it. And we've got waist-high basil right here, which we'll be bringing to the market. We've got probably 60 pounds of eggplant that we're going to bring to market this week. And soon, guys, we're going to be bringing just tons and tons of melons. tons and tons of peppers. My banana peppers don't even want to stand up on their own, some of them, because of how big they are. We've got cucumbers coming in hot. All of this stuff is slow, but hey, we're doing it. If we have a late freeze this year, we're gonna have a harvest all the way throughout November into early December of all of these awesome varieties. Trust yourself, guys. Trust your intuition. If something didn't work for you last year, the chances are it might not work again for you the following year. We got wrapped up in trying to do everything perfect. Because we grew so much melon and squash in these rows last year, we decided, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna crop rotate. And you know what? We're gonna try tomatoes again because, heck, they fetch a pretty penny if you could grow some nice heirloom tomatoes. And that didn't work for us. I wish we would have trusted our gut. Our soil is overly high in nitrogen here. We have way too much of it. That's something that a lot of farmers pay for, but we're paying for it because some of our plants are bound up right now and taking their time. And the only solution to that, in my opinion, is growing something that feeds on all that excess of nitrogen. Growing something that's gonna love that. Growing something that's gonna produce 20 to 25 pound fruits that are gonna balance your soil, like these melons. So we're killing all of our tomatoes, but we're birthing a lot of beautiful plants, herbs, flowers, melons, peppers, eggplants. God bless you and yours, guys. I hope you're doing well. Hope your family's growing big and strong. Thanks for watching.